Today we'll be looking at simplifying algebraic expressions. We'll be looking at substitution of numbers for variables. We'll be looking at factorization. So let us get into the exercise. So we are asked to simplify 1x to the power of 3 all squared. So we're going to apply our law of power to a power, applying the laws of indices. So this will be x to the power of 3 times 2. So we take the power outside, we multiply by the power inside of the bracket. So we're going to get x to the power of 6. Part 2, we are asked to simplify y to the power of 8 divided by y to the power of negative 5. So when we are applying our law of division of indices, once we have the same base or variable, we maintain that base or variable, and what we do is subtract the powers. So this will be 8 to the power of y to the power of 8 divided by y to the power of negative 5 becomes y to the power of 8 subtract negative 5. We subtract our powers, and therefore this becomes y to the power of 8 plus 5, which is equal to y to the power of 13. Part B, so this is A. So part B, we are asked to factorize. So we want to factorize. And remember, factorization is taking an expression and we want to express that expression as a product of factors. So if we have to factorize xy minus y squared to represent this as a product of factors, the method we're going to use here is the method of the highest common factor, and our highest common factor here will be y, and we're seeing y common to both terms, but we're going to take out as our highest common factor our variable y with the lower of the two powers, which is y to the power of 1. So we take that out as a factor, we put our brackets which shows product, and we're going to divide y into each term. So y divided into xy gives us x, and y divided into negative y squared gives us negative y. So we have represented this expression as a product of factors, hence we have factorized it. Let's look at part B. So we want to factorize x squared minus y squared. So to factorize this expression, to represent it as a product of factors, using the method of the difference of two perfect squares. X squared is a perfect square because it can be expressed as a product of the same two factors, x by x. Y squared is a perfect square, it can also be expressed as a product of the same two factors, y by y. And the negative sign or subtraction sign between them represents the difference of two perfect squares. So to factorize it, we have our two sets of brackets, two sets of binomials, and because x squared leads, the factors of x squared will be written first in our brackets, and then y will be written after, and they must be separated. In one bracket there must be a positive sign, and in the other bracket there must be a negative. Or you can have it in the reverse, negative in one, positive into the other. So let's look at part 2. So this is B part 1. Let's look at B part 2. Hence simplify that expression. So we want to simplify this expression, which is xy minus y squared over x squared minus y squared. So we would have done all the work previously. We would have factorized xy minus y squared to get what we have here, which is y into x minus y over, we have factorized x squared minus y squared, which we have here, and we're going to replace x squared minus y squared with its product of factors, which is x plus y, x minus y. And what we can do at this point is simplify by simply dividing x minus y into itself. So x minus y into x minus y is 1. And we're going to be left with y over x plus y. And we have simplified it. Let's move on to the next. So it states here, given that a is equal to 6, b is equal to negative 4, c is equal to 8. They want us to evaluate the value of or calculate the value of the expression shown. So For us to do so, we have A as so this is 2A, A as 6, B as -4, and C as 8. So where we see A, B, and C in that expression, we're going to replace it with the number shown. This is A squared plus B over C minus B. So I'm going to replace A with 6. So where I see A, I'm going to put 6 in brackets square, and make sure you put brackets, plus I'm going to replace B with -4, and I make sure I put -4 in brackets to separate those two signs, all over C, which I replace with 8, minus B, I replace with -4, and to separate my two signs, I make sure -4 is placed within brackets. Let me simplify. This becomes 6 squared, which is 36. A plus by a minus is a -4 over 8 plus 4. So 36 minus 4 will give us 32. All over 8 plus 4 will give us 12. And let's see if we can simplify that further. We know 4 can divide into 32, which is 8, and 4 can divide into 12, which is 3. And we can, of course, move this from an improper to a mix, which will be 2 and 2/3. So that there will be the answer for 2A. Let's look at 2B. We are asked to simplify the expression 3 in brackets x minus y plus 4, and in brackets x plus 2y. So of course, to simplify, we have no choice but to remove our brackets. So we're going to take what is outside and we're going to multiply it by each within. What is outside of the bracket, we multiply by each within. So therefore, 3 by x will give us 3x. 3 by -y will give us -3y. Plus 4 by x will be plus 4x. And plus 4 by positive 2y is positive 8y. So after I have removed my brackets, my next step is to group like terms and simplify. So I'm going to rearrange 3x plus 4x I group together, and -3y plus 8y I group together. And when we simplify, 3x plus 4x will give us 7x, and -3y plus 8y will be positive 5y. Let's move on to part 2. So part 2, we have here, and I'm going to erase on top. So part 2, we have here 4x squared multiplied by 3x to the power 4 over 6x cubed. So we have to simplify that. So to simplify that, what are we going to do? We are going to work out what is on our numerator first. So we are multiplying terms and we are applying our rule of multiplication of indices. So this will be 4 by 3, which are coefficients. We can multiply them to give us 12. But x to the power 2 multiplied by x to the power 4, once we have the same variable or base when multiplying, we maintain that variable or base, but the powers we must add. 2 plus 4 will give us 6. And that will be divided by 6, x to the power 3. So I can divide again my coefficients. I can divide 6 into 12, which will give me 2. And x to the power of 6 divided by x to the power of 3. Once I have the same variable or base, I maintain that, and the powers I subtract. Always power of the numerator, subtract power of the denominator. So 6 minus 3 gives us 3. Let's move on to the next. Again, we have substitution of numbers for variables in expressions. And of course, these are all past paper questions, both old and new. So we have here question 2, A. So given A is equal to -1, B is equal to 2, and C is equal to -3, we are asked to find the value of 1, A plus B plus C. So I am going to replace A with -1, which is important to put within brackets, plus I'm going to replace B with 2, plus I'm going to replace C with -3, and I can replace C with -3 where -3 is within brackets to separate my signs. So this becomes -1 plus 2, a plus by a minus is a minus 3, and when I simplify that, we're going to get what? Negative 1 plus 2 is 1, and 1 minus 3 will give us negative 2. Let's move on to part 2. So part 2, we have here, so I'll erase on top. Part 2, we have b squared minus c squared. So again, a is equal to negative 1, b is 2, c is negative 3. So I'm going to replace b with 2 in bracket squared, subtract. I'm going to replace c with negative 3 in bracket squared. We know 2 squared will give us 4, subtract negative 3 squared will give us positive 9, and 4 minus 9 will give us negative 5. That's the answer for that. So let's move on to B. So let me erase. So 2B, write the following phrases as algebraic expressions. We have 1, 7 times the sum of x and y. So 7 times, of course, means to multiply, and we can put a multiplication sign or brackets, but 7 times the sum of x and y. The sum of x and y is x plus y. So 7 times the sum of x plus y. We make sure we put x plus y in brackets, which will imply multiplication. So we show 7 and x plus y in brackets. So 2, the product of 2 consecutive numbers when the smaller number is y. So we have 2 consecutive numbers. Of course, we are looking at numbers that one comes directly after the other by, of course, adding 1. So, for example, 2, 3, 4, 5 are consecutive numbers. So we increase by adding 1. So we have the product of 2 consecutive numbers when the smaller number is y. So if the smaller number is y, then the number that comes immediately after y will be y plus 1. So therefore, the product of these 2 consecutive numbers will be to take y and we multiply y by y plus 1, ensuring that y plus 1 is placed within brackets, showing product. So let's move on to the next. So we are asked to factorize the following. So let's test our knowledge of factorization. So we're looking at part D here. So we want to factorize, and we want to factorize 1. 4y squared minus z squared. So to factorize this, we're using the method of the difference of 2 perfect squares. So this will be 4y squared. The factors of 4y squared will be 2y by 2y. The factors of z squared will be z by z. So we have 2 perfect squares, and the subtraction sign between them represents the difference of 2 perfect squares. So we put our 2 sets of brackets or binomials, and because 4y squared leads, the factors of 4y squared will be written first, and of course the factors of z squared will be written after zz, and of course we separate. In one binomial we have a plus sign, and the other we have a minus sign or subtraction sign. It doesn't matter the order. Subtraction can be first, positive sign can be after. So we have factorized 4y squared minus z squared. Let's look at part 2. So I'm going to erase the entire board to part 2. And don't forget to ensure that you like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And let's make sure that we use these exercises to assist us to prepare for exam on Wednesday. Yeah? So we have part 2. We want to factorize 2ax minus 2ay minus bx plus by. So to factorize, because we have 4 terms in this expression, 1, 2, 3, 4, we know automatically we're using the method of grouping. So we can pair off our factors into 2 pairs, our terms into 2 pairs, and what we're going to do here is factorize our first pair by taking out what is common. Clearly 2 is common to both, so I take it out as a factor. A is also common to both, so I take it out as a factor. I put my brackets. Let me divide 2a into 2ax will give me x. Let me divide 2a into negative 2ay gives me negative y. Always remember the sign controlling the first term of the second pair we bring down automatically. B is also common to both terms, so I take out b, hence negative b becomes my highest common factor. And let me divide negative b now into each term. So negative b into negative bx gives me x, and negative b into positive by gives me negative y. Once I've reached to this point and I see where I have the same variables and signs within brackets, I know I'm on the right track. So I can further factorize by taking out as my common factor x minus y. And of course, what remains or what is placed in the other bracket will be 2a minus b. And this is so because when I divide x minus y into itself, I'm going to be left with what? 2a, which I place in my bracket. When I divide x minus y into itself, I'm going to be left with negative b, which I place within the brackets. Good? Let's look at part 3. They are asked to factorize 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. So the method of factorization we're going to apply to this expression will be the method of the quadratic expression. So what do we do? So all quadratic expressions are the form ax squared. So it's of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. And what we're going to do is multiply a by c. So we start by multiplying a by c. So we're going to multiply 3 by negative 8, which is negative 24. And we want two factors of negative 24. When multiplied will give us negative 24. But when added or subtracted can help us to get that middle term, which is plus 10x. So the two factors of 24 we can use here will be 12 and negative 2. So positive 12 and negative 2 will give us negative 24. And when I set it up, I'll take 12, attach x. I'll take negative 2, attach x. And I know that positive 12x minus 2x will give me positive 10x. And I can ensure that this is right because there are important rules of signs of the quadratic expression we must know. When there is a minus sign in front of the constant, it tells us that the signs of our terms are different, which they are. One is plus, the other is minus. And when there is a plus sign in front of the coefficient of x, it means that the larger of the two terms is controlled by a plus. So once the signs of our quadratic correspond with the signs of our terms, we know we can proceed with grouping. We're on the right track. So let me replace or rewrite this expression as 3x squared plus 12x minus 2x minus 8. And let us now use a method of grouping to factorize that. So this will be what I pair off. What is common to my first pair? Clearly 3 and x. Let me divide 3x into 3x squared, which gives me x. Let me divide 3x into plus 12, which gives me plus 4. Let me factorize my second pair. The sign controlling the first term of the second pair I bring down automatically. I also pull out what is common, which is 2. So negative 2 becomes my highest common factor. Let me divide negative 2 now into each term. Negative 2 into negative 2x gives me x. And negative 2 to negative 8 gives me positive 4. At this point, I know I'm on the right track. There's one more step to get my final answer. I'm going to take out x plus 4 as a common factor. I put my bracket. I divide x plus 4 into itself, which gives me 1, which leaves me with 3x. I put 3x in brackets. I divide x plus 4 into itself, which gives me negative 2, and I put negative 2 in brackets. And I've factorized it. Let's move on to the next. So we have here write as a single fraction in its lowest terms. So let me erase the bond. We want to express as a single fraction in its lowest terms, and we have here an expression in algebraic fractional form. So we want to simplify that. So 2a, we have x minus 2 over 3 plus x plus 1 over 4. So the first thing we do is find the LCM once you're adding or subtracting fractions. The LCM here is what? 12. So I divide. 3 into 12 will give me 4. And I'm going to multiply 4 by my numerator. But what we should do, if I'm multiplying 4 by the numerator, x minus 2, we ensure x minus 2 is placed within brackets. Bring down the addition sign, plus 4 into 12 will give us 3. I'm going to multiply 3 by x plus 1. We're going to simply rewrite that or state it as 3 and x plus 1 in brackets. We need to remove our brackets so we can further simplify our expression. So I'm going to multiply 4 by x, which is 4x, 4 by negative 2, which gives me what? Negative 8. So 4 by negative 2 is negative 8. Then I'm going to multiply plus 3 by x and plus 3 by positive 1. So plus 3 by x will give me plus 3x. Plus 3 by positive 1 is positive 3 all over 12. I group like terms, so this will be what? 4x plus 3x minus 8 plus 3 all over 12. And I know 4x plus 3x will give me 7x. And negative 8 plus 3 will give me what? Negative 5. So all over 12. And at that point, nothing else can be done, so that remains my answer. Let's look at B. So B deals with what we call binary operations. So this symbol here, which is stated, and that symbol we see between A and B, is known as a binary operation, which is some symbol that links two numbers or variables to help us to achieve some result. So let us work on this. So we have here, given the expression, which is, this is B, we have A asterisk B, and that asterisk is your binary operation, is equal to A plus B in brackets squared minus 2AB. They want us to find the value of 3 asterisk 4. So to find that value, we know we let A be 3, B be 4, and we're going to use this expression on the right of the equal sign to help us to achieve a result for 3 asterisk 4. So we begin by simply stating let A be equal to 3 and B be equal to 4, and we're simply going to replace this expression here with the result of A and B. This becomes A plus B in brackets squared minus 2AB. So where I see A, I replace it with 3. Where I see B, I replace it with 4 in brackets squared minus 2 times 3 times 4. This is A multiplied by B. So we put 3 and 4 within brackets to show we multiplying them. This will be 3 plus 4 is 7 in brackets squared minus 3 by 2. Well, 3 by 4 we can multiply 3 by 4 first, which is 12. And 12 by negative 2 gives us negative 24. So 3 by 4 gives 12, and 12 by negative 2 gives negative 24. We know 7 squared is 49 minus 24, and 49 minus 24 will give us 25. So that's our result for 3 asterisk 4. So let's move on. So we have here now, again, more factorization, testing our knowledge of factorization. So let's make sure we can recognize the methods of factorization. So 2A, part 1. So we are asked to factorize and begin with 5A squared B plus AB squared. So to factorize this, we look to see what is common to each term. Clearly, A will be common to each term. I'm using the method of the highest common factor here. A is common to each, but we're going to take out A with the lower of the two powers. So A is our highest common factor. If you look, what else is common? B is common to both terms, but I'm going to take out my B with the lower of the two powers. So that's V. I'm going to divide AB, which is my highest common factor, into each term. So AB into 5A squared B will be 5A. And let me divide AB into plus AB squared will be plus B. So that will be our result when we divide the highest common factor into each term. Let's look at part 2. We want to factorize 9k squared minus 1. What method of factorization we're going to apply there? The method of the difference of two perfect squares. 9k squared is a perfect square. 1 is a perfect square. The subtraction sign between them represents the difference. So therefore, 9k squared as a product of the same two factors will be 3k by 3k. 1 as a product of the same two factors will be 1 by 1, hence they are perfect squares. And now let us factorize. I put my two sets of brackets. The factors of 9k squared, because it's first, will be written first within my brackets. So the factors of 9k squared, 3k and 3k, you write them first within the brackets, and the factors of 1 will be written after. And you must separate with a plus sign and minus sign, or you can put minus first, plus after. Let's look at part 3. We want to factorize 2y squared minus 5y plus 2. So the method of factorization we're going to apply there is the method of the quadratic expression. So what we're going to do is to multiply a by c. That will be 2 by 2. 2 by 2 will give us 4. And we want two factors of this 4 here. When multiplied, will give you 4. But when added or subtracted, can help you to get negative 5y. So the two factors of 4 we're going to use will be 4 and 1. So I'm going to simply set it up. 4 attach y, 1 attach y. And you can use the rules of signs to guide you. Once there's a plus sign in front of the constant, it will tell us the signs of these terms will be the same signs. And this minus sign in front of the coefficient of y will tell us that both signs are negative signs. So a plus sign in front of the constant tells us these signs are the same, clearly they are the same. And this minus sign in front of 5 will tell us both are negative. So we know negative 4y subtract 1y is negative 5y. And once that is right, we know we can proceed next with using the method of grouping, converting these 3 terms into 4 terms. I'm going to write 2y squared. I'm going to replace negative 5y with negative 4y. Subtract y plus 2. I pair off what is common to my first pair, clearly 2 and y. So 2y into 2y squared gives me y. And 2y into negative 4y gives me negative 2. The sign that controls the first term of the second pair, I bring it down automatically. There's nothing common to 1, to y and 2, but what is understood after my minus sign is 1. So you put 1 after that minus sign. And let's divide. Negative 1 into negative y gives you y. And negative 1 into positive 2 gives you negative 2. So once I have the same thing in brackets, I know I'm on the right track. So I'm just going to further factorize. I take out y plus 2 or y minus 2 as my common factor. Let me divide that now into each term. So y minus 2 into y minus 2 is 1. 1 by 2y is 2y. Y minus 2 into y minus 2 is 1. 1 by negative 1 is negative 1. And we have factorized it. Yeah? So let's look at now B. So B, they want us to expand and simplify. So let's expand and simplify the following. So we have here 2 binomials. So we have 2x plus 5, and we have 3x minus 4. So we're going to expand and simplify. I'm going to take 2x in my first binomial and I'm going to multiply it by each term in my second. So 2x by 3x and 2x by negative 4. Then I'm going to take positive 5, which is my second term in the first binomial, and I'm going to multiply by each term in the second. So positive 5 by 3x and positive 5 by negative 4. So when we multiply 2x by 3x will be 6x squared, 2x by negative 4 is negative 8x, plus 5 by 3x is plus 15x, and plus 5 by negative 4 will be negative 20. So we're going to get here, when simplified further, these two terms are like terms, it becomes 6x squared, negative 8x plus 15x will be plus 7x minus 20. And we can't simplify any further, and that there's our answer. So I hope that this exercise on algebraic expressions will help you to prepare for that exam on Wednesday. So make sure we practice. Right? So don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Right? Have a good one.